Hey, everybody. This is Tim. Welcome to the ACES podcast. I'm here with my good friend Justin, and we're here to talk to you today about mental health for business owners. Justin, how you doing?
I'm okay. Womp womp. Did you ever watch Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yeah, I watched Bill
There's
Nye.
there's an episode where it starts off and they zoom in on Bill Nye and he's crying. And the announcer is like, "Bill, what's the matter?" And Bill Nye goes, "Everything. Everything is matter. Get it?"
I'm sorry to say I do get it.
It's a great. No, it's great. I love it. No, I do want to talk about mental health. I think this is a sorely needed topic. Uh, it's something. First off, I'm very open and honest about how I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and I've been on certain medications, and now I'm not clinically depressed. I'm on anti-anxiety medicines, and in this country, we shame people who have mental health issues and stuff like that, and we shouldn't. But I think the bigger part here is that being an entrepreneur is hard. Being a business owner is hard. And we never talk about this. All we talk about, even at ACES, is we talk about like how to look great on LinkedIn or like put on a smiley face when you do a podcast. And sometimes you have crappy days and you have to know how to get through those.
Do you follow okay? Do you follow Chrissy Teigen on Instagram?
I do not. Should I?
Oh, she's a great. I mean, she's great. Yeah, she's great. She has a ton of great posts, but one of the things, but she's also real, and she's talked about before, like, how that stuff you see on Instagram, like, it's not real. That's not like we
Yeah.
posed that. You got to realize that there's a photographer, and all of this is posed, and I think that you know e- everybody. It's hard for everybody, not just business owners, but everybody's putting their best foot out on all of these different social platforms, right? It's just, and so everybody thinks that that's what they have to live up to, and that's just not very attainable for anybody.
Right. I did a presentation on like internet security for schools, and a lot of it was about social media. And I actually found this video, and I don't remember who to attribute it to, and if I can find it, I will put it in the show notes. But it was a story where they show about this young girl, and like in her like early 20s, and she was posting on Instagram and having great time with food and friends and yay. And then they like rewind the tape and they show her when she's not on Instagram, how she's lonely and depressed, and like not to get like sad, but like at the end of the thing she ends up committing suicide. But that's exactly what this is about. Like I'll tell the truth. This is a true story. Just the other day, I felt like crap. Like I started the day off. The podcast didn't upload properly. A client got mad at me. My kid didn't hug me and give me a kiss goodbye when he ran into class, which he never does. And so, like, I even called Michelle, my wife, and I was just like, "Today's gonna suck." And so, I unfortunately have a hard time getting out of that, and I spent the rest of the day watching cartoons. If you're listening to this, virtuous staff, I did work, but I watch cartoons in between. But like it was one of those days, and sometimes it's harder than others. And then so the next day, I was in the city and I went to a client, and I happened to be near Michelle's uncle's print shop. And Michelle's uncle is an entrepreneur and thinks very much like me. We're both New Yorkers, we're both entrepreneurs, we both have that kind of mindset. And so I just went over there and I was like, "Hey, can we have lunch? I really want to talk to you." And I asked him, I said straight up, I was like, "What do you like?" Because he's gone through the trials and tribulations. This is his second or third business. And, you know, I said to him, "What do you do in those days? Like, what do you do on those days where you just literally cannot move? You're frozen, you're paralyzed in fear. You think you're failing, all these things." And we talked about it. The first thing he said to me was that if you could recognize that, you're already way beyond a lot of people.
Right.
And that's a huge thing, being able to recognize that, and then from there you can build back up. And we talked about the things that, you know, I don't fail at, or the things that do make me happy, like doing this podcast or I just talked to another consultant earlier. Like, actually, I talked to the consultant on the same day I was having my crappy day, and I talked to them about their project, and I kind of helped them through something. And like, that made me feel good, you know? And so doing those things that make you feel good, that even if you're tricking your brain a little bit to like get yourself through that day, you know?
Absolutely. Well, it's really easy to spiral, and it's always a downward spiral, right?
There's no upward spiral. Yeah.
There's no upward spiral, and it's just so important to, you know, it's one of the things we talk about too, about, you know, like having community, and you've got coworkers and these things, but a lot of times for the business owners, it's pretty easy to get kind of isolated, and so you have a little rough patch, and then nobody, you know, like your employees or your other staff don't know, you know, that, you know, cash flow is a little tight right now, and they're not worried necessarily about feeding their kids, but you're worried about feeding them and their kids, right? I mean,
Right.
there are these things that are hard, and it's a challenge, and being able to, you know, as the more we isolate ourselves by doing remote work and getting things done, the more we actually separate those connections. And so it's really important and valuable to have people that you can reach out to and talk to, you know, even just, you know, to have another voice that you hear that's good or bad or different. And I know like you and I we have those conversations together every once in a while. It's just like, you know, hey, can I just talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
You know, like
Even just a vent. Yeah.
yeah, right. You don't have to fix my problem. I just need to tell somebody that this is really hard, and
Right.
that, you know, I'm struggling with payroll right now, or I'm struggling because this client wants to leave and this other client, you know, wants to leave, and I've got these two new ones, but I just don't have time to tackle them. Like, I don't even know where to start. And I do know where to start, but you have to like sometimes you just have to like vent
Talk
for
it
5 minutes and talk it out and get it done. Have a brain dump, whatever that is. Yeah.
And I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. Like, for some of us, it's a lot harder. When I was in my depressive years, you know, it used to take, if I had a client who said something bad to me, or I lost a client, like, it used to take me days to get out of that. And now, you know, I've balanced out the right medicine, and I've learned who to talk to, and I've learned how to talk about it and how to recognize those feelings, which is a very hard thing to do. And now it takes me, you know, a couple of hours or a couple minutes or whatever it is. So like, but I mean, this isn't like, it's not like I fixed this for myself in weeks. We're talking about years of changing the way I think and changing the way I do things and stuff like that. And so, and I know that a lot of people in our community, you know, I've had private conversations with people in our community that are having, whether it's a business problem or a personal problem, you know, you're having a fight with your spouse or significant other, you're trying to balance home life and work life. You know, for you and I, we both have little kids, and we want to be able to spend time with our little kids, but at the same time, you know, servers are literally on fire.
Right.
It's hard, and it's stressful. And, you know, we've even had guests on the show where they work from 6 to 1 in the morning. Like, that work-life balance is a really hard thing to achieve, which, you know, first off, the whole work-life balancing is a myth, in my opinion, but there is a mental health balance. And I think that a lot of us, I'm going to call us out. I know a lot of us are not physically fit. So how are a lot of us mentally fit?
Dude, I've been on a diet all week.
All week. I've been on a diet for the last 6.5 minutes. I haven't lost a pound. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But yeah, that's what it is. You have to exercise your body. You have to exercise your mind.
You do. And it's really, it's hard. It's a challenge. And so, okay. So aside from medication,
Sure.
what are some tools? What are some ways that you're you've learned? What are some of the tools? What are some of the tricks that you have in your toolbox that are helping you, or
I got a
helping you
big
be?
toolbox. Um,
That's what she
that's
said.
what she said. Uh, number one is I think the number one thing is being able to talk to the people who are closest to you openly and honestly. I can talk to Michelle openly and honestly. I can talk to you. I can talk to Will O'Neill. I can talk to Andy Esp. I can probably talk to anyone on my board. Andy, Adam, Alan. I can talk to you. I know who I know who my friends are, and I know who my real friends are. And I'm not trying to say that anyone that I'm friends with or people we've had on the podcast, we're not friends. We're clearly friends. But like there are those like you, Tim, who, because we talk all the time, like we know each other a little bit more intimately in those respects. And you know some of the ins and out of my business, I know the ins and out of your business. But like
Sure.
I know that I can call you and just be like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I was trying to keep myself from cursing, but uh,
That's all right.
so
What do I say when you do that?
yeah. Oh, you drink.
Yeah, no, I don't know. No, go on. I'm just teasing. I'm
So
kind of a
know
tough
who?
love.
No, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, you say get over it a lot to me. Um, but know who you can talk to. So that's number one. Number two, um, if you don't, you need a coach. You have to have. I'm huge on having coaches and mentorship. I mean, I've gone through, and I say it in it sounds like a bad way, but like no, I had Jason Womack, who was our keynote speaker the first year. The reason he was our keynote was he was my coach for a long time, and Mihai Baldwin was my coach for a long time. Jennifer Dawn was my coach for a long time. Melanie Curtis is doing a lot of coaching for our mastermind people, which is great. I know that she offers coaching. Um,
Melanie
find
is great.
a coach.
We should have Melanie on the
Oh
show
yeah,
one
totally.
time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll get
she's
her.
great. Yeah,
But find somebody who you can talk to who understands. Or sometimes it's good if they don't understand. Like if we're going to talk about Melanie for a second, right? Like Melanie's not in IT, and so I have calls with her all the time, but that for ACES stuff. And so I'll like start rattling off something, and she'll be like, "Whoa! I don't understand any of like what's an MSP? What's a what's
right,
an RMM, right?" Because I forget that she's not in IT.
right,
She's a
right.
life coach. Have a coach. So that's so someone you could talk to, have a coach, and then you know what? At the end of the day, if you are listening and you don't have someone, Tim or I are here.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like just know that in your heart that if you, I mean, I try to limit myself to my audience. If you're an ACES attendee and you're having a problem, Tim or I are here. I am always on Slack. I'm pretty much always accessible. Tim is always on Slack. Tim is always accessible. Um, you just have to know that. You just have to and make yourself a sticky. Put a post-it note on your computer. Put something somewhere that if you're having a bad day that you know you're going to look, and write yourself a note. Call Justin. Call Tim. Call mom. Call significant other, wife, husband, whatever. Call your coach. Have a list of people that you can contact to talk to say, I'm having a bad day. What do I do?
Absolutely. I can't. I mean, I have nothing to add. I 100% think that that is absolutely what we need to do. We all need to do a better job of it.
And at the very least, at the end all be all, find a medical professional who can help you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because we're just people. We're
Yeah.
not trained professionals.
Sometimes I feel like one. Like we'll go to clients and like we've had this conversation where like you go to a client and like they're crying because they can't get their like keynote presentation, but really it's because like they got dumped by their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Like it'll be okay.
Just gotta
But
get
yeah,
back out
it's
there.
tough love.
Yeah.
There's plenty of fish in the sea. We live by the East River. All the fish are dead. Try the other side. Go to New Jersey. But I mean, that's really where it's at. Like, you know, it's weird to say this, right? There's a reason that the self-help books are like the number one sellers in the world, but at the same time, so many of us, the reason they're number one is so many of us really need something to push you, something to kick you in the butt. I have a couple of go-tos that I like to read to like kick me in the butt. If I'm really down, like even Michelle knows like certain funny videos online that'll like get me out of something. Like if you ever watch, there's a British show called 8 out of 10 Cats. Oh no, sorry, not 8 out of 10 Cats. They did Big Fat Quiz of the Year, and there's one where there was a British character named Mr. Blobby, who's this creepy, like, what do you call it? Not a puppet, but like it's a dude in a costume, right? And
Yeah.
And one of the contestants on the show is like super afraid of him, and it's just like a really funny clip. And every time I watch it, I laugh. And if I'm having a bad day, I could watch that clip and just, you just have to know where those things are, and you have to start recognizing them. I think that's the biggest problem is isn't that the number one step? Like recognize the problem.
Yeah.
I've never been in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't actually know.
Yeah, well, I clearly am not a member, so.
He says while drinking wine at 4:00 on a Friday.
No, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, knowing you have a problem is the first step to having a problem or solving a problem, any problem.
Knowing you have a problem is the first step to knowing you have a problem. Second step is not thinking you're in Fight Club.
But you know what I mean? I mean, I think it's it. And you gotta do anything you can to avoid that downward spiral, because it builds and it gets on top of you so quick, and it can be so hard to get out of it. And I mean, I hope that this episode actually gets outside of the ACES community a bit, because I think that, we talk to all kinds of business owners, and the struggle's the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty universal. So.
Especially if you're trying to take, like, I mean, think about this, right? Like, forget me, because I know that I do a lot of different things, but like, let's take average person who only owns an IT company, right? Like one of the like a normal ACES attendant. They have a family. They may or may not have kids. They have a mortgage probably, and they have clients who are basically children, right? Like that's a heavy burden for one person to be handling.
Absolutely. Because you're not, I mean, we're all pretty empathetic people. Like we're not like, I'm not just worried about myself and my family and my partner and his family. We're also, you're right. We are also worried about all of my customers and all of my customers' families, because, there is a large amount of responsibility that goes with the job that we do. And that, we get paid to keep those other companies in business and productive. So, am I always thinking about, shoot, what if somebody, gets hit by cybercrime, gets crypto locked out of their network and has to close their doors, and that's my fault. There's a lot to what we do.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little sad.
We need to. This is the point of the show where we need a joke to get people. Hey Tim, have you ever watched Aftermath? There you go. Got it in. I mean, we had a client the other day who we had a scheduled appointment to, and they canceled because like one of their employees like died. Like, so of course we immediately were, no problem. What can we do to help? We, send them a condolence card immediately. Like we do everything, because it's so easy for us to look at our clients as endpoints and just look at them as computers, also forgetting that they're also human, right? They have feelings. They have things going on in their lives. And I may have joked around about like the person who's like, breaking up with their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, but like sometimes real stuff happens. And, whether it's us taking care of it's less about us taking care of the computer, and it's more about us taking care of the person.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. Anyway, this has been a real positive, uplifting episode. I hope that people have listened to it. And actually, I mean, in all sincerity, really, this is something that we've wanted to talk about for a while. And I think that it's really important for people to know that, you know, these are things that we all struggle with, and we're a community, the ACES community, the Mac admins community, the business owners community. You know, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we should all lean on each other a little bit when things get tough. That's why you have a community.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're having this talk, and
This
yeah, go
feels
ahead.
like one of those. This feels like one of those episodes, like on a sitcom from the '80s and '90s. Like the Becky found out that she has a drinking problem. um, but no, I mean, yeah. You know, look, I started ACES because I wanted to learn how to be a better business person. Right? It has grown and morphed from that to an amazing community of people who want to help one another. We talk about not competition, like co-opetition. I always forget how to say that word. Um, that people want to help one another, but when they try to help each other with their business. I mean, we see it in Mac admins all the time. We see it in ACES all the time. But know that, and like I said this earlier, know that Tim or I are here if you're having other problems on top of which, if you need someone to talk to. I've asked me for my phone number, I'll give you my phone number. Ask me for you need $100 to get something done, I'll give you $100 to get something. You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes to help you feel better, to get you out of whatever that dirt and grit is, to stop that downward spiral. Like that's what ACES is all about now, and that's what and like you said, that's what community is all about. And it's amazing just how strong that community can be when it needs to be.
Absolutely, 100%. All right. So with that, I'm going to say, everybody, I'd like to see you at the ACES conference, May 19th and 20th, 2020. Tickets are going fast. I know we have like 85 listeners to this podcast now. Um, but oh,
Sure.
more than that. You're
I
right.
don't know.
Oh no, it's drink. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
we
drink
had.
time.
Okay, yeah. But I do just want to say, you know, I'm so thankful to all of you for listening, and I can't wait to have a drink with you on that Monday night um, before it all starts. And anyway, Justin, you have anything else you want to share with our 89 listeners or your dog?
Downside to recording during the day is that Amazon shows up. They drove all the way from Seattle. No, I we're recording this on a Friday, and I'm only saying that because everybody knows that on Fridays I try to do gratitude Fridays, and my gratitude Friday is for you, Tim, and for you helping this community and being a pillar in the ACES community and the Mac admins community as a whole, because I know a lot of people do rely on you and come to you for things. So I'm giving you my gratitude Fridays, and I want everyone who's listening to think about somebody who they want to give gratitude to when they do listen to this episode eventually, and think about why you're grateful for that person and that person can help you. And if you are having doubts or questions about your business or your life or whatever it is, and know that we're all here for you, and we love you and respect you, and we thank you for listening.
All right, with that, I'm just going to thank you, and we'll thank everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Bye, everyone.